afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to have today with me Igor Toma, the CEO of NUACOM. We at Whatswhat, we are starting the profile interview with successful people, successful businessmen, but we are not looking to see only how they become successful. We are looking to know also the men, the persons behind the business. So Igor Toma, welcome. And it's a pleasure for us to have you on the first interview for the Whatswhat magazine.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Now, Igor, as I said at the beginning and on the discussion we had, we want to know more or a little bit more about Igor Toma. So can you tell to our audience who is Igor Toma? Who is the man behind the wheel of NUACOM?
Hi, my name is Igor Toma. I'm originally from Republic of Moldova, and I came in Ireland when I was 22. And I always had a passion for technology, internet. As I was growing up, I was always passionate by it. And at the moment, I live in Ireland for a little bit more than 15 years. I have 3 kids, lovely wife, dog. This is me.
Yeah, I've started with a dog and I've ended with a dog and a cat in the same time. So I understand. Basically, instead of 3 kids, you have 4, because you have the dog too.
I have 4. And the kids are telling me that the dog feels so lonely that I need to get a second dog now. So he's lonely and they need a pair for him. But I think I don't think I'm gonna be led by them this time.
All right. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about your background and what led you to start NUACOM? What was the trigger to get into NUACOM?
Well, as I said, I'm originally from Moldova, and when I came to Ireland, I didn't came for a specific reason to start a business. That wasn't something that I had in my mind. I was just working in IT industry. More specifically, I was in web development. And then it just happened that I was at the right time in the right place, and I met the right people. So I just had an opportunity to take over the startup I was working for, and continue growing since then. So it's an unusual founding story, but I have all the story with all the elements of the founder and grinding from the very beginning.
Yeah, like usually every business has its own story. Some of them are unique. Some of them they do look similar. This is a unique one, and I'm like you see, I'm more enthusiastic because you see what I'm interested in to see when it comes to the story. The story is. It's helping you to grow in and to develop your own journey, and each journey, like you start in one point and then you have an opportunity and then you say, well, this might be my lifetime opportunity, let me take it. What was your early influences? Like maybe you had someone who influenced you, and I don't know who helped you to make a change. Not many people starting the same journey as you did will have the same let's say end of the story. So what was the early influence for you?
Right. So I think the most important, the biggest influence on me were my parents. What they taught me from the young age is to work hard. We had to help the parents a lot, and they always try to get us involved in anything we were doing around the household. I think be able to kind of put a head down and work hard without probably thinking too much why and when. It might sound wrong, but it's the way to kind of get through the hard times, I would say, in a way that similar to what the sports people get trained for. So when your body naturally will tell you that, look, you have to stop. Why are you doing this? And the more you question the why and for what reasons, your mind is kind of naturally trying to tell you to stop and give up and look for something easier to do. So I think one. When you're starting a business, it's very important to be able to overcome these physical kind of desires to look for an easy path and just be true to yourself and focused on the ultimate goal. I think this is super important, and I believe that for the same reasons, people from the sports background or people who kind of started working and be more independent at the early age, they usually do better in business in general.
When it comes, like, I know you already mentioned that you were working in the startup before taking over, but what motivated you to become an entrepreneur? Was there a specific moment, a specific event that made you to take that decision? How was it? What was it?
Yeah, I think I understand the question. So, in my situation, it was a little bit different. So, what happened is like the few events just happened in my life which kind of led me into this path. So, more specifically, was the fact that I came in Ireland and I had even though I had a lot of passion and skills for IT, I knew how to program. I was doing. I like to make my own money and. But first, it's important to mention that I had my first business since I was 15, and I was doing that just because I had the right skills and the people around me at the time. I was appreciated for what I could do, so I was a little bit different than my peers. That I was excelling at. Computer technology, informatics. That's the object that we used to have in school. So, and I was doing pretty well and into the microelectronics, and I could get my head around different tech. So my first business was as an installer of satellite dishes, like television. Yeah, so that was something that was. There was like the demand on the market was for that, and I knew how to do this very easily and efficiently, and I could find different ways to optimize the cost, and I was able to offer good value for affordable price. So that gave me pocket money when I was a teenager, and I think that's when really my story starts. I was the first in my school to have a mobile phone, probably before any of the grown-ups that I knew had a mobile phone, which was funny looking backwards. Then what happened is when I came to Ireland, I was working for various kind of low skill jobs, but at the same time, I knew that my skills could be utilized way better. So I started as a freelancer web developer. I was building websites first. I built a website for free for my employer, and at the time, Google used to give. I don't know if you remember, they used to give the AdWords vouchers, €50 AdWords voucher. I think they still do it now, but in the past, like that, not many people knew how to spend it. And so what I did, I got that voucher and I spent it for AdWords for the website that I built for my employer. And then in a few weeks, he said to me that he was starting getting calls for big jobs, big contracts like he never got before, and he was so excited that he was telling everyone around that, look, I have this guy working for me, and we build a website, showing off on his phone, look what he's done for me, and then telling all this story about getting new inquiries for huge, massive contracts. So what happened? The word of mouth spread, and then I had more people reaching out to me, and then I started making websites for money, and so this is something that allowed me to make an extra revenue beside my day-to-day job. And then once that picked up, and I realized that I could probably that could become my main source of income, I decided to quit the job and focus on that. Then the opportunity came around that I was hired for a startup as the software engineer, as a junior software engineer. And then I was like back to the kind of employment, but the reason I choose that employment because it was for me an opportunity to work for something bigger. And I really believed in that startup, and I was so passionate that I was just working nonstop, weekends and everything. I was giving my 150% for it. But the time happened that different factors. So the startup really it was a SaaS company, like a cloud company, which at the time was it was kind of a novelty and very risky thing to do, and people didn't really understood how that business model works. So they expected like a quick short time into the profitability, and it was I think we were 2 years into the kind of the business, and then we were barely reaching the even. And so the original founders, they decided that they probably don't want to do it, and they moved to other ventures. And it just happened that I ended up in this situation where I had opportunity to actually buy out the startup and continue on my own. And because I didn't really had any other better prospects, I decided to give it a go. And so since then, yeah, I felt that I had the energy and the passion, which made me work for the business in a way that I wouldn't be able to work for an employer, and I didn't really feel any hardship or struggle at all. Everything for me was just enjoyment, and it felt like a game I wanted to play. And the real joy of getting customers and having customers telling you how great the product is and how happy they with the service, that kept me going and going. Yeah, so this is how I ended up here.
Wow. Yeah, like it's you won't see many times someone just stepping in and doing what you did, and no, don't tell anyone, but NUACOM is a great product. Okay, now every business, I remember when I started my own journey, right? I've seen a picture in LinkedIn, and the picture was like a graph with, you know, ups and downs. So you have your product, and then something happens and you go back to square one, and then I don't know, you get a few clients and then it's up again. Now the question for you is, in your journey, obviously you had to overcome challenges. So how did you face the bigger challenges on your early days, like just on the starting, just at the beginning? So how did you manage to do that?
Right. So I think, as a first time entrepreneur, for me, everything was new. So I had to learn myself everything I was going to do. So, for example, my biggest challenge was to start hiring people and then managing them and then knowing exactly what they have to do, and to make sure that I have enough revenue to pay them. So I probably started hiring pretty late. The reason was that I was bootstrapped, so I wasn't raising any investment. So I had to really do everything myself. What is this? Marketing, customer service, sales, installation, support, accounts, tax returns, HR, everything I had to do myself and learn really how it's done. And I was taking these things so serious that I really went and researched each of those topics, and I was trying to become really good at it myself before hiring and delegating to somebody else to do it. And the challenge, I think the challenge was to try to find somebody who would be at least as good as me to do those things. And when you're just a startup and one-man band, it's really hard to attract good talent because the opportunity you offer them were not that great. You're just a startup, so you can imagine yourself the access to the talent I had was limited. So I had to hire maybe junior people, or maybe people like that I had to train myself, and get them, help them to kind of grow into those positions. And I think finding the right people at the start, the people I dedicated, and people that I was able to manage, and the people who would be like a cultural fit, was the hardest part. So one very important person who helped me from the beginning was my brother. So he was helping me with software development, and I was blessed with that because he was really on my side, and he's still with me at the moment, and he helped me a lot. Then I guess the way I managed to get my first employees is looking for people who probably wanted to get into this career path similar to me, but they really wanted, they had a big desire, but they didn't have a lot of experience behind them. So, which didn't make them too employable at the time, right? So I was willing to kind of do this trade-off with them. I offered them the job, I offered them to grow into this career, and they're gonna invest, and they're willing to take the job, maybe not super high paid at the beginning, without a huge kind of salaries, but it worked. So I think it worked very well. But as we grow as a company, I think the things have evolved and they changed along the way. So this strategy doesn't work anymore. You have to hire skilled people from the start if you want to build a really strong company.
Thank you. We take the advice. With experience is one of the most important core values. Let's say, put it this way. The employees will have to put their fingerprint on the company. Thank you for sharing how you overcome the challenges. Now, when I'm looking to move a little bit into a different area of the business and to look onto the vision and the core values. Can you share with us what are the core values that your business stands for?
Right. Okay. So the core values, which I didn't put on paper, but I always had them, and they kind of transponded into people by day-to-day communication, by the way we take decisions, and so on and so on, which I had to then extract and actually define them for all the new employees. As a company grows, I don't have opportunity to be to spend too much time with every person. So those values have to be written down by myself, defined, and then pass on the team so they can pass on to their own team. So the values which I identified, the trust. So the trust is super important. So you develop this with every interaction with your team member. You always try to you never show distrust, and you have to be open. You have to trust them from the very beginning. This is crucial because in the company is like is like a family, and without trust, you can't really do anything. The second one is for people to know that they can rely on you and they have your you have their back, so you can always if they give this stuck with something in a difficulty with their work or with the customer, you will always protect them. So this is very important. So they know this, and there are moments during the life of the company. The moments will come up where you will be challenged, and you will hear a lot this saying that the customer first, but I still agree with that. We're a customer-centric company, but the employees are first. I believe this is what the reality is and how every business should be run. Because if you don't have your employees and then you don't prioritize your employees, then the company doesn't exist. So first, you have a company. Company is made of your team. The team is your priority. And once the team is confident and skilled and they know what you're doing, then they can bring customers and they can take care of the customers, and then everything takes along. But I would say your employee, your team is first all the time, and then the customers. So these are the values, and then how do we communicate the values is during every decision you make. So when you get challenged, when there is a question comes up or a discussion come up, you always take all the decisions, build all the processes, communicate with people. Everything is around those values. Then naturally your team then just replicates this, and they learn and they understand and they kind of transfer this to other team members. This is how eventually you build a company culture. It's important when you hire people to be able to understand who is the cultural fit, which means that will they align with the company values. Even if something happens that you end up hiring somebody and then you see that there is a friction, and then there's a few things that just a misunderstanding around these things, or you can see the red flags where they don't really have the same priority on the values as you have. I think the best decision the company can do is just to let them go as soon as possible, because it's really hard. It's really hard then going forward. One, they will probably never align with your values. And then if you end up keeping them, they will just destroy your culture. They'll be toxic. eventually you destroy your company, your team dynamics, or you'll have to let them go, but later, and it will be much more painful rather than doing this as early as possible.
That's the early stage. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, no, like, I mean, those are valuable advices for people who maybe are not at the same stage as you are in your business development. You know, like, I mean, it's easier to learn from somebody with experience and take the advice and apply that advice in your company than going through the same challenges other people already did, you know, or already overcome. It's easier, you know, to accept it and to apply it and to do it as early as possible. Otherwise, it will be painful, as you already said. When it comes to, we spoke to a little bit of the core values, but most likely you also have a vision. Now, this is one of the questions I don't like to ask. And the reason behind that is, you know, we don't really know where we are going to be tomorrow. But what is your vision? Where do you see yourself and where do you see NUACOM in the future?
Yeah. Okay. It's a good question. And a lot of businesses, I would say, would struggle to define a clear vision because apparently the imminent vision seems to be like a financial goal, and everyone has vision around its own financial targets. But it's very important to have a vision, and the vision it's something that I had when I was starting the company, and I think it's still valid today. So I always wanted to build a global company. I never wanted to be like a regional business, just settle at that. For me, crossing the borders and having clients from different cultures, from different countries, and at the same time learning about their cultures, it's so exciting that I truly want to build a global company. So yeah, this is the main vision for NUACOM.
Dream big, think big, dream big. You know how it...
dream big, yes, big. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. When it comes to the impact, right? What kind of impact do you hope your business will have on the community or in the industry you are in?
Right. So because we're building a product that, first of all, it's helping businesses to digitalize their operations, and also it's helping them adapt with the new realities after COVID, with the hybrid work remote, and all these things. So I hope that our business it's helping businesses with all these things, and I think we're doing a big impact, and we get a lot of positive feedback from the clients. They always tell us how great it is, how much it has changed, what their business can achieve, and how more flexible they became once they can answer calls, make calls from wherever they are. They can start hiring staff outside the country and using our solutions for the communications. They can have those staff now taking calls from as far as Philippines, and the quality of the conversation, the quality of the service remains the same. So I believe, and which is backed up by the customer feedback, that we have a massive impact on the industry.
It's amazing what technology can do today, to be able to take phones if you are in your holiday. Well, don't take calls when you are in holidays, but...
No, don't do that. It's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea, but it's amazing, you know, like you can have it with you everywhere you go. Like I still remember, you know, if you remember the old times, for the people our age, you know, the landline phones we used to have, with the ones with the wheel,
the rotor.
How much it evolved, and now you can have it with you in your phone, in your pocket, everywhere you go. It's amazing.
The technology changed, but the underlying channel, it's still there. So what it is, it's a voice channel. It's a conversation between two people, conversation over the wire, over the wireless, over whatever medium the technology offers. And the distance can get greater, the quality get better, and on all these things. But the main principle is that for the two people to be able to get on a call and talk, regardless of the borders, I think it's a very, very powerful channel. And with all the promise of the text and emails and I still believe that this channel is not going to die out. People will still need to be able to talk in business, to settle deals, agreements, provide good quality service, and the interaction is very important. So the voice, I think it's an upgrade of the text, and it always be valid, and it will always live around us.
Yeah, it was. I remember I've seen a report on a company that they've made a change on the business model. So what they did, they've changed the live customer service with AI customer service. Like, I mean, when you go and you type in text and you text in with an AI chatbot, yeah, and they've lost 60% of their business just because of that change. People like to socialize. Like to be honest with you, I don't do business with businesses that I can't get in touch with a real person. Sometimes it's so hard those days to get in touch with a real person, to speak with a real human behind, on the other side of the phone. So I don't think the phone industry, like the industry you are in, is going to die any.
Yeah, I think some people took it the wrong way. I'd say the opportunity here with the chatbots is not to get to replace people, and with the chatbots, or with like a conversational AI, even like the bots that can talk. So I think the first stage and the first opportunity would be for businesses who never had customer service done by people. They purely self-service knowledge base, and now and they were kind of, because of the operational margins, and they couldn't afford to have like people actually taking calls and answering support tickets. Now for them, it's an opportunity to introduce this, but instead of hiring people to do it, they can just employ chatbots and the conversational bots, so they can start providing this service which they didn't have before. And the only reason they can do this now, because it's cheaper. It becomes cheaper and more affordable for them to do this. So for them, it's like a new addition. So they will win. They will gain something from it. But the businesses who decide to make people obsolete and replace them with chatbots, it's more like a downgrade. Whatever way you look at it, it's downgrade. Even though business thinks that you're going to save some money, but from the customer service level, I think it's a downgrade. So it will fire back, and it will cost them. So it's very, very dangerous move, and it should be taken with caution.
Yeah, I share the same opinion on this. Now let's go backwards.
Right.
It's easy to
go on the side of it.
To go on the side of it, and to move the discussion on different topics. Now, what you just said it's very, very powerful. It's very, very powerful. So I hope our listener will take this advice. The last line was very, very powerful. Now, Igor Toma, when it comes to your leadership style, Now this is a little bit more intimate question. How would you describe your leadership style?
Right.
And if is to look back, how it evolved from the beginning. I know you've touched a little bit earlier on, but how it evolved as your business has grown.
Right. Very interesting question. So what I can say about that is my personal leadership style, which is, I don't say it's wrong or right, or it doesn't have to be this way. And by the way, every person has its own leadership style, and there's so many, and it's no right or wrong. It's just whatever works, and whatever works with the kind of the team you are, and the place you are, and the business you are. So it's you have to be really flexible. But my personal one is I give people autonomy. So first of all, I try to build trust, and I trust them that they're gonna do the right thing, and I'm there to help. I try to lead by example, so show them how it's done. So they learn the culture from me, and then they learn by example from me. Then I just hand over to them, and I'm more like kind of like let them own their process and be responsible. So I'm not micromanaging for the very small decisions, but instead I'm looking periodically and assessing the result. And then if we're not happy with the result, then we go back and look, okay, well, let's dive into the process, how you do things. Is there anything I can help you, any feedback I could give you? But I'm just trying to give feedback only, and then let them absorb this, see if that's the right thing for them, or maybe they have a better way of solving the problem. And then at the next month, at the next review, we're looking at the result, and then we look again and we see, is there any improvement? What led to that improvement? Was it my feedback, or they came up with their own method? And I love when they don't take my feedback, but actually go and learn the topic, study the issue, and then they figure out a process to get things better, and then they actually implement and get it go. So I'm so proud that kind of this is what means like you have like a leaders who can think by themselves and decide by themselves. So it means that they don't need you, and they don't need constant feedback from you. So I can trust them that they're gonna, whatever solution they're gonna come up with, it could probably be better than mine. So this is the top. This is the ideal kind of a level where you want your team to be at.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Now I know you already touched a little bit about the challenges you've had on building the team. So what qualities do you look for in team members, and how do you foster teamwork within your company? You just started to touch that, but maybe you can go a little bit deeper.
Sure. So when it comes to the qualities I'm looking for, so first will be the culture, and what I mean by that is somebody who would be willing to take in feedback, somebody who could be managed and learn, somebody curiosity and for things, and you can learn about their curiosity from their previous experiences and hobbies and different activities. So if you see somebody who's always trying to learn new things, is always in continuous kind of a personal improvement, then you know that this is the right person. And then you try to kind of see how they worked previously in a kind of a team settings, and what kind of teams they got, and what kind of activity, what kind of initiatives they have, and then I try to understand how well they play in a team. So you kind of need to have this conversation and about different topics to gather these bits. Then skills, obviously, it's very important. So for the person to be skilled in what they're doing, and it depends of the job they're going to do. Some jobs, the skill could be trained, and you can give them that knowledge, and probably would be really hard to find people with enough skills already experienced in exactly what you want. You kind of limiting yourself when you go to recruit on the market. So you probably hire people for their kind of a cultural, personal, emotional kind of intelligence, and the way willingly to learn, work hard, and put in, like, be able to focus on something and get things done, and then the logic and the kind of the speed of the thinking and taking decisions and figuring things out and learning fast. I think this is the most important skill. And I've seen people who came with absolutely no experience but had these skills, and within a month or two they were at the same level, maybe better than the people who actually were doing the same job for 3-4 years. So, but in another hand, there are roles where you really need people that have the skill, they have experience, because there are some subjects or disciplines which you can't really learn quick. You just have to spend years in it, because the discipline is so vast. Like, I'm talking about software development or system engineering and different things where the knowledge is so vast that you just have to have years of experience for you to have this baggage of knowledge. So this is how I go about.
Thank you. Now, there are industry changing all the time. The industry is changing. Well, we think it's changing. Now, how do you adapt to changes in the market and in your industry? How do you manage to keep track of all the let's say all the changes, and I don't know, keep track of the AI revolution?
Right. So there are two ways to look at this. One, which is very important, and don't miss the focus on your main product, on the main business that brings you money. And you probably have set some sort of a goals on that. So, and it's easy to get distracted and sidetracked on different hypes. As you know, over the time we've seen so many. There's AI now. Mm-hmm. Before that, there was blockchain. Before blockchain was, I don't know, mobile and different mail, remote working. There are shifts in kind of a dynamics in the different technology or whatever it's happening, and there's always some new opportunities, and you looking like to jump quickly on those opportunities. And there is a good and bad on both, right? So there is on one hand, you may say, okay, so we need to be agile. We need to adapt very quickly to the new changes. Yes, this is totally valid, but on the other hand, it could be distracting. So I think every business owner, every leader has this, it needs to develop this sense to understand and kind of see things through for himself, for the future, and be able to know whether is it an important change that it's worth taking the company focus and resources and put into it or not. And look, there's a lot of things you would never know, and nobody knows, because we have, for example, we have AI, and a lot of you get a mixed kind of feedback from the experts. Whoever you listen, somebody will say this is super important, the future is going to change drastically everything. Somebody else will say, no, this is just a fad, it's a hype, and it's not there yet. And so you don't know where you are. So I think the way we do is, and it's the same like when you're starting a business. You build a prototype, you go to a pool of clients and say, well, this is what is doing now, and possibly we can evolve this to do a little bit more. would you be able to pay for it, and how much you'll be able to pay for it? And then you kind of get a feedback from people. Everyone will come at you and say, do you have any AI features? You have to do AI. But as soon as you go back to the same people and say, okay, I got something here that it's AI powered. Are you willing to pay extra 20, 30, 40 euro a month for that per user? And see what they say. What they're going to do then, they're going to scratch their heads and say, okay, so what is it actually doing? What is it benefiting to me? How is it going to help me? And then they kind of, the AI label kind of moves away, and everything is left as what is actually, in fact, what job is it solving for me? How is it making my business better or helps me make more money? Because these are the basic principles of the business. And if it can do an impact and can do a massive change there, then they're willing to pay money, and then your product is good. And then you can invest more money and continue developing it. But it's very important to test with the customers any idea, regardless what that is. Even when you're starting a business, every feature you do, and you have to test it with the clients. There are some exceptions where the clients will never be able to tell you until they see it. And we know this from history with Henry Ford, with the car, and, people ask for faster horses, they never ask for cars, but, and there are some moments like that, but it's up to every leader to kind of figure out for themselves. And this is the game of business. It's like a gamble, you put your bets, and the better you put your bets, the better you can be analytical about that. The more successful you're going to be.
The more successful you're going to be. Can you share an example of a significant innovation that came from your team, and like how was the process like? It's
right. I understand your question. So you'll be surprised how much comes from our clients. So we have our product team where we brainstorm and we analyze the landscape, the competitors, we get the feedback from clients, and we kind of prioritize all these features and trying to kind of weight them. We have a formula, a prioritization formula, which we came up in-house for that suits us the best. So helps us to know where our focus should be, because there is, as I said previously, there are a lot of ideas. You can get distracted, but there's always, you have limited resources that you can allocate to implementation. So you have to, out of all these hundreds of great ideas, you have to pick one or two that you're going to work this quarter and you're going to deliver. So, and it's very, very important that you choose them strategically, because ultimately you believe that they all have the most impact for your business in long term. So the way we work is like that. But as an example, because you asked for an example of the recent kind of innovation, was I took a call from a customer, and they had this. They had this workflow. So she was trying every day to get the list of the people that tried to call, and so they missed the call basically. So she tried to, at the end of the day, about 4 o'clock, try to return all the missed calls. But one of the challenges she had is, if she just pulled the list of the missed calls, which is easy to do in our platform, we just filter the call by the unanswered calls. Then the same person may have called later, half an hour, and managed to speak with somebody. So when she was returning that missed call, say, oh, no, I actually called back and I was fine. Or another instance would be, no, one of your colleagues actually called me back and I'm fine. So she, out of, let's say, 50 missed calls, 30 were connected. So the challenge was, how would she know exactly which calls that are missed and never connected afterwards within the same day? So I said, okay, you know what? Let me just build a quick report for you that's going to pull these calls. So it was easy for me to do with on the back end. I can say, okay, give me the list of missed calls, and then after the date when the time when the call was missed, was that call ever connected afterwards with either incoming or outgoing? And the ones that were not, then show them as a missed call that need to follow up, and just pull this onto a list. Yeah. And I showed that to her. She loved it. And as soon as she calls them back, that entry disappears from the list. So the list gets slow until you have 0 calls to follow up. So I call this report missed call follow-up report, basically. Bless it. And so this was the tool. And then what we did release this to everyone. And I introduced this to our sales people and our sales reps when during the demo calls, they were presenting this tool. And the customers loved it. They said this is the most clever solution, the most clever feature they've seen. And it's so unique that it's not available with any competitors. Only we do it. It didn't take a lot of effort to actually do it. I just did it in one day. But the value for the customer is greater than any those massive AI, whatever you call it, where you're going to spend millions building it. So it's very important to know what value is it for the client, what their priority is in the feature that you offer them. Because you may have one way of looking at things, take that bunch of that features, give them to a client and say, what is the most important for you? One way to know is you try to analyze their behavior. You interview them, you always talk to them, but also in your product, in your website, or you embed the analytics, which is like user behavior. We use Mixpanel. I think there are a few other alternatives where you can actually see the journey and see exactly how they use your product, how they use your tool. And then you try to understand what's really happening, because sometimes customers may tell you in a way that it's not going to be totally clear to you, but watching them, just actually using your product gives you a lot of visible, useful insight. So I think this is,
one of this tool, it looks amazing. I mean, on my early days in Ireland, I used to work for a company. I'm not going to say her name, but it was a big company anyways. So we had to do door-to-door. Sales agents, we had to do door-to-door. And the most embarrassing for us was to knock on the door that was already using that product, and it's pretty much the same thing. Like, you are calling people and they will tell you, oh, well, I've already talked to someone in your team. And then it's so embarrassing. And it looks bad on you. Congratulations.
Yeah, no problem. Still a lot of work to do. It's never ending.
It's never ending, but you see,
exactly,
that's what's most important in business, is to look for the success of your customers, and you are successfully doing that. So just continue to do what you do.
Thank you.
Now, we had a laugh about answering phones while in holidays, because now with your product, it's a challenge. You have your work phone with you in the holidays or wherever you go. So the question is, how do you manage now? How do you manage the work-life balance? What hobbies or activities do you enjoy outside work? So a little bit more about Igor Toma.
Right. Thank you. Well, that was a big how to say thinking exercise, or it's like realization of what is the work-life balance and what it should be and how it actually looks. First of all, when you're starting a business, you should not think about this, because everything is life. Your business is part of your life. You don't put them in a separate buckets. You don't think your business is some sort of like a hardship, a struggle that you do there, and your life is something that where you relax, you enjoy. For me, the way it felt at the beginning, the work of building a business, it was like a play. It was like something that I was having so much fun, and I couldn't wait. On Saturday, I couldn't wait to go back on Monday to start working again. For me, it was like so much fun. It's like playing some strategy game or something. So I didn't feel any way worked out, or it didn't feel like a work. So when there is no work, there is no need to ask this question, like work-life balance. I think it comes later in life, when in the business, I mean, in business building process, where you maybe you have kids, you have your family, and you have to disconnect from your business, from your enterprise, whatever, and give time to your family. So I think this is the way I would put the question correctly, would be like, what is the time allocation you have between your family, business? So this is how I heard this concept of like a pizza of life, you know. So you have a life, it's a circle. This is your time, so you have to slice it and have a slice for every part of your life, and you have to evenly distribute this in order to achieve fulfillment from everything. So what I do, I kind of allocate time for my family, which is the weekends and the holidays. We try to take as many holidays now as possible, because my kids are just the right age when it's the most beautiful age, where the family dynamic is and the bond is so strong, and I can enjoy really that moment. Then it's the body. So for the body, what I'm doing is I'm trying to wake up at 6 every morning and go for a run. Try to do 6 kilometers every morning, and then cold shower. And this gives me the morning boost which I need. And so I love that process, and it works well for me. I start doing at the start of the year, and I keep going with that, and I will never stop it. Next one is the mind. So for the mind, you always should allocate time to improve yourself. And I know how hard it is. Everything takes your time. But what happened to me when I'm up at 6 and I exercise until 7, then between 7 and 9 I have 2 hours gap. 2 hours when my kid's still in bed, and it's silence, it's early morning, there's no one around. So I have this time where I'm not working. I start working from 9, but until between 7 and 9, I have 2 hours where I can read the books. So read books or study or learn something. So for example, I had a goal this year that I'm going to read a book every month. And I started this, I started it doing so fast that I kind of overread. So I read more than 6 books in the first 4 months, and I said I need to slow down, maybe do something else. You know, it feels like I was going too fast. So what I start doing, and actually start getting my learning for my sailing exam. So I have all these kind of tools for bearing and compassing and all the maps and everything. So I think this is it's a lot of fun to learn something and to study something new, and keep your mind at work, because even though you do work every day, your mind doesn't work the same way when it's actually learning something new and exercising the memory. So I think it's important to get this gym for your brain. Always flex your brain in a way that it's different than what you do on a daily basis at your work. So then what else I have here is the business. So for the business, I have business goals, and I clearly set the metric which I'm using for my business. So for example, I have ARR, and which is annual recurring revenue, and I have a goal for that by the end of the year. It's very ambitious goal. And when I told this to my colleagues, they said it's going to take you many years to get there. You know, you're not, why, how you think you're going to do it in one year? And I said, look, I just have to figure out. That's the whole point of the challenge. Now we set the goal. We know where we want to be. We know what kind of growth we want. Now let's just work back, reverse engineer this. What do we need to do to get there? And then you start thinking more bigger. You have more ambitiously. You put yourself bigger goals, and you think, what is the most important thing we need to do to get to that goal? And it kind of flips on the head the whole thinking. And I think it's very useful, and it worked, and we managed to set some quarterly goals for activity, which are really impactful, which will help me get to the financial goal I have for the end of the year. So yeah, this is how I balance my life, which I think it's working.
I tried so hard. Like I do sports, right? I play football. I was champion at athleticism when I was a kid.
Wow.
And I know how to run. But I can't run by myself. I'm a social person. I like to have companions, So
I know.
So I tried a few times to go to do the 5K run. It didn't work for me. The best for me works the football. So I play football a lot. Reading.
We should play once together. You should get me in your team, and
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
we'll do that. we'll do that. Now we were speaking about fulfillment, and you mentioned that you mentioned the word previously. Now, what has been the most fulfilling aspect of running your business? The most fulfilling aspect of running your business?
I'll be honest with you. There is the biggest fulfillment is the financial freedom. So be able not to think and not to stress too much about your expenses when it comes to holidays or buying a car. Even though I don't mean by the way that we throw money left and right and center, but we really kind of how to say the right word. We will be looking a lot of times onto something before buying it, but we don't have this problem where we don't have enough. What should we do? Where do we get more money? Should we get like a credit? Should we find a new job? The way usually people would have. And I really understand, because I was there. But for a long time, I was like that. And only recently, even when you have a business, you cannot suddenly kind of leave that way. It really takes, for me, it took about 10 years into the business until I can start kind of in a way afford things, because until then 100% of everything was in the business. I was taking for myself probably less money than I was paying other people, and this is the commitment I knew I have to do. And my partner, she was totally behind that. She understood that, because we were trying to grow a business and grow it to a stage where we can start kind of benefiting from it. So for the last few years, I would say I start kind of having this more kind of a relaxed and kind of feeling or noticing the benefits. So, and it's a great relief in a way. So I think this is the biggest benefit. A second one is by not having a boss or somebody to tell you what to do, sometimes, depending who that boss is, sometimes it could be good that you always have like a good leader and you can feel comfortable with that. Some people probably don't. Some people, I don't know. But anyway, I don't have that, and I'm grateful for this. There is no one tell me what to do and when to do and how to do it. I just completely full control on my life. So I think this is very, very nice feeling. It's really hard to achieve, and I'm very glad that I managed to get here. But it's very, very rewarding.
This is the dream of any entrepreneur. Like when you start your journey, that's the dream. to be financial free, because otherwise we will do what everybody else is doing. And I'm not saying that what everyone else is doing is bad or something. It's just some things are for certain people and some things are for other people. Like, you know, we are not the same, we are all different. But to reach your targets, it says something. You know, when you set your targets at the beginning and when you manage to get there, that says something about you and says something about your business, you know. And congratulations for that. And the only advice I can give is to be careful and to pay attention to whatever is happening, because when you when you get there, then if you don't set a different target, people get used to where they are, and then they don't pay attention to whatever is happening. And it happened to big companies, like we know the story of Nokia or Chevrolet, or, you know, they are big companies who got there and they didn't pay attention. Other than that, I can't say anything, because it's that's what comes to my head now. Failure. If you receive ever an email from me, from my personal email, I've read this quote somewhere, and like I say, like on my personal email, it says, I can do everything through Christ who strengthens me. Failure is not an option. Now, but failure is not an option, but unfortunately, it is something we go through. It's no way we don't. It's not, let's say, fail, but we don't have. I name them. I don't name them failures. I name them challenges. Challenges that I need to overcome. So, from your experience, can you share a time when something didn't go as planned in your business?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. You know, if you were honest to yourself, and you know, things never go by the plan. You know, I would say most of things, they don't go by the plan. But if they go good enough, 80% by the plan, I think that's okay. I think one of the lessons you learn with when you hire first people is they will never be as good as you. They will never be 100% as good as you, because they don't have the same motivation, they don't have the same skills, whatever reasons. There's a million of them, but they will, and you will understand that if they do their job, you know, 80% as you do, I think that's good enough. And you have to kind of accept this. I don't call this a failure. Actually, it's just one of the lessons that you learn early when hiring, and then later when you're doing decisions and big decisions, then you see things fail a lot. I have a lot of stories with failure. I can give you one which is just comes to my mind now. I tried to engage with a PR company, PR agency. It was COVID. It just came, and then because we have this product which empowers people to work from home remotely, we thought it'd be nice to engage with a PR agency to write, you know, some interesting story, and just go with those stories out there and help us to get a bit of you know, brand awareness and public awareness through different publications. And I really failed with them. They didn't deliver 3 months contract, and I spent like 15,000 euro with them. The result was like very small. They managed to write some news articles and in some publication, nobody heard about them. So the output was not there, and we failed. And I learned later that part of the reason they failed was mine, because I didn't know how to engage properly with them. I didn't know how to set the proper expectation. I didn't know how properly interview an agency and choose which agency is right for us, because I knew nothing about PR and how PR industry works, and I was completely new to it, and I had to do it quick because it was COVID. It was at the right time, so I didn't had enough time to make my due diligence. I have to run quickly into it and just put my complete trust into them that they're gonna do something good for me. So I think this is one of the failures, and most of the time failures are because of me. I all the time I'd say because of me. So there's no one else to blame, and most of the failures is when I didn't think it through, and I didn't put enough time to actually plan the decision or research or whatever that is.
The due diligence.
Exactly.
Yeah, it happened to me to spend big money with PR. Yeah. Now we are almost close to end our interview. We have 2 more questions for you. One of them is in regards of the aspiring entrepreneurs. From your experience, what advice would you give to someone who is considering starting their own business in 2024?
It's very hard. There's so many businesses, and you'll be thinking like, what is the best idea? What should I do? And you'll be just circling around different ideas to choose which idea is the right, is the best one, is the easiest one to give you more money, and so on, so on, so on. But I think it's one important factor when doing it is you have to, when you decide what to do, is look at which one gives you that energy, that fire in you, the excitement and the joy of actually doing that. It doesn't feel like a hard work, and whichever will be able to fulfill this excitement for the longer period of time. Because you might be excited about something now, but if that excitement will fade in 6 months, then you already invest a lot of time and money, and then you have no excitement and you hate your startup, and it's just a disaster. It's not going to work. So whatever keeps you running for long, and you have to train the endurance in you. It's like a marathon. You have to keep running. Whenever you feel pain and tired and whatever, you should always, stand up, and pick yourself up and just keep running and through all this pain, and try to reframe everything that it's nothing hard. It's not a struggle, but it's just a game, and it's just a part of the game. And if you want to be a winner, so you always have to be able to self-motivate you and reframe things in a positive way, and keep going, and never drop the ball. But at the same time, you should always analyze and be analytical to understand whether this is like there is a future behind this idea, or it's just a bad idea and you need to stop. So I think these are mixing these 2 qualities where you have to have the resilience and hard work, and understand when your brain is telling you stop because I'm lazy, to say no. And on the other hand is just gather enough data from the market and analyze and look at the numbers, look at financial, and listen to the experienced people to understand whether this ends up being a good idea or not. Okay. I think that's my key advice to anyone starting the business.
Thank you. And the last question for today: what kind of legacy do you hope to leave through your business?
Good question. And legacy is not something that you think when you start a business. It's a kind of a thought comes to you later when you retire or something. I don't know. It's like when you never think about these things, and I never thought about this either. It's just when I saw the list of questions you sent me, I actually started thinking about this, and yeah, we just try to pretend this is not scripted. It's not scripted, but it's I thought about the legacy, and for now, the legacy I want to leave is an example to my children and whoever knows me that. Look, there was such a guy called Igor who came to Ireland with 100 euros in his pocket, and he managed to, build a business and become a leader in his category and took the business global. And I don't know whatever way this story is going to end, but it's just like a story where we're just going to inspire other young people, and not only young people, whatever age, to get on this journey and believe in themselves that everything is possible. And it's not you don't have to be special in any way. You don't have to be born in rich family or have a expensive education or be born in a specific country. I mean, everyone from any background with any kind of a quality, as long as they have their mind in the right place, and they can achieve anything they want in this life.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to have with us Igor Toma, the CEO of NUACOM. It was an inspiring interview, very deep thoughts, good advice, and I am looking forward to see. I don't know who is going to be our next guest, but Igor, thank you very much for taking your time and share your story with us and to our audience. We wish you more success. We wish you to reach your targets, your financial targets for this year, as you shared with us. And I don't know, maybe next time when we are going to meet in an interview or something, we will be pleased to hear that you managed to reach all your targets.
Thank you. Pleasure was on my side, and thanks for having me. Thank you.
Okay, goodbye,
Bye.
guys. So I'll see you on the next episode.